Welcome to the program, everyone. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We are going live in 15 seconds. And of course, a major victory for President Trump is what we're going to lead with today. So stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Oh, man, we have so much to cover. We've got a big victory celebration coming up at the White House at 10 a.m. You may have heard President Trump posted on Truth Social last night. Big news conference tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. The Oval Office concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country, the first of many. And the mainstream media are all reporting that it's going to be the United Kingdom, the UK. We don't have any confirmation of that, but the media are reporting that. This is amazing. You know, another never-Trumper, Trump derangement suffering, liberal, Democrat, fake news media talking point is going to evaporate. Tariffs work. Trump tariffs work. Right? Their talking points, their first one was, how much are eggs? Egg prices are now down 87%, maybe even 90 by now, thanks to the president. They're Maryland man. They're walking that back. And now it's going to be tariffs don't work, because tariffs do work. And this is the beginning of a lot of great things that are going on in our wonderful country. And we'll talk about this as the show goes on. I hope it is the United Kingdom, because this will be the third war that England has lost to the United States. Of course, the first war that England lost to the United States was the American Revolution. Then England lost the War of 1812. And if it's the United Kingdom today, it could be another country. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's being widely reported. If it's the United Kingdom, this will be the third time they've surrendered in defeat to the United States. So this is a great thing. And everyone knows the tariffs are appropriate, right, and good. You know, the tariffs, they keep saying that tariffs are going to make prices go up. And in fact, the opposite is true, because when these countries lower their tariffs and we have the reciprocal tariffs, since the import taxes are going to be lower, prices are going to go down. And look at all this manufacturing that's coming into the country. I'm going to go through some later on, not right now, but I'm going to go through some of the businesses that have moved back to the United States because of President Trump. But the big one today that's in the news, Volkswagen announced they're moving manufacturing to the United States. That's huge. I've had 3 Volkswagens. They were all Volkswagen Bugs. Not those things they came out with in the 90s. I had a 68, 69, and a 73 Bug. I wish I still had them all. And I still do see the one on occasion in Pompano, driving down Powerline Road and stuff. I do see my old Bug that I haven't had for 30 years, driving around still. But Volkswagen moving back is huge, huge. And it shows that Volkswagen, if they want to be a major auto manufacturer, they have to do business with the United States. This is the largest economic reset in the history of the world that President Trump is overseeing, with these trade wars, tariff wars, reciprocal tariffs, whatever you want to label it, whatever you want to call it. And it's a great thing for the United States, the American people, and the world, because the world will be in a better place when America is leading everything again, like we should have been doing. So I'm very excited, and we've got a lot to cover on the program today. This is only one thing, but your calls are welcome at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All
Hello?
right. Yeah, you're on. You called me.
Oh, cool. Sorry. The voice was a little quiet.
Yeah.
Steven, I'm from Florida.
All right, Steven in Florida. What is on your mind?
Yeah, so...
Here we go, Mike.
I guess maybe you could kind of guide me. So, Donald Trump,
Greatest
I feel
president.
like I'm a conservative Republican,
But,
yeah.
Huh? But you're a conservative.
Oh, yeah. I just feel like Donald Trump kind of has like a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like pushes me away from like 100% supporting him in some certain aspects.
Uh-huh.
And then I watch like, I don't know, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, and they have completely opposite views and opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing like, where should I go to like?
Well, I want to ask you this question, okay? This is I'm so glad. Oh, sorry. I'm so glad that you called. You said you're a conservative Republican. What beliefs do you have or positions do you support that make you a conservative Republican?
I don't know, the traditional ones, traditional family, protected borders, gun rights.
Then you should be supporting Trump. Then why would you should be supporting?
Oh yeah, no, I said
who
I
else?
do.
Who else would you support?
Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody else really stands up.
So
for
what's
that.
your problem? You think he
But
has
then,
a
like,
yeah?
I was saying like the fact that like what's the whole Trump 2028 hats
that I'm wearing right now? Well, okay. Now you said that you're concerned. You think Trump has a cult following. See, you're not very old. You're young. How old are you?
Like 25.
Like 25 or 25? What do you mean like 25? How old are you?
I said 25.
Okay, you're 25.
My birthday's in like 3 weeks.
Okay. Oh, you'll be okay. So you're 24, soon to be 25. Okay. President Trump came.
Almost 26.
Oh wow! Well, happy birthday. So President Trump came down the escalator 10 years ago. So during your coherent time of thinking about such things, news, politics, the issues, you've only known Trump. You don't know what it's like, being a conservative before Trump came down the escalator. You know, Republicans before Trump, even our Republican presidents, with the exception of Ronald Reagan, were losers and liars, okay? We got nothing done. Our other Republican presidents, they were in bed with the military-industrial complex, starting wars we shouldn't be in, like the Iraq War. They didn't accomplish anything on the Republican agenda, like overturning Roe v. Wade, which President Trump did. And to be a Republican before Trump was to be used to having lying Republican presidents and members of Congress and losing all the time. And the reason that there's so much excitement among Republicans with President Trump, it's not a cult following. You know, he is the first president that we've had who's a Republican that's advocating for the American people, advocating for the United States, and getting things done. So what you are calling a cult following is not that. It's just he's the first president we've had that's been out there for us, and we're excited.
Fair. That's a good point.
I mean, you know.
What's with the 2028 thing, though? Because they can't run for a third term.
Well, that's not true.
They amend. Well, if they amend the
Constitution, sure.
Constitution, yeah, sure. But you need a, supermajority to do that?
Well, the Constitution, and I may be wrong on how many times, okay? But the Constitution's been amended about 27 times. It's been amended many times. In fact, it was amended in 1950 or 51 to only allow presidents to have 2 terms. So presidents had unlimited terms in this country up until 1951. So actually, we've had unlimited terms longer than we've had term limits. So if they could amend the Constitution in 1951 to limit terms, certainly we can amend it again to do away with that. It's no big deal. It could happen.
Yeah, I'm not doubting it, but I don't think it would. And then also, last point, and then you can move on if you want.
Okay.
The whole tariff thing.
Yeah.
Or no, actually, no. Let me skip that point. Canada as a 51st state.
He's not. President Trump is not really meaning. He's not serious about them becoming a 51st state. But the reason he talks about that, The United States supports Canada. Without the United States, there's no Canada. 90% of the Canadian economy is dependent on the United States. We're supporting their country. Financially, we protect them militarily. And the reason he talks about making them a 51st state, he's highlighting that they're living off the United States. We're supporting them as if they are a state. And he's using that to renegotiate the trade deal so they'll stop ripping us off.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Because when I watched the interview with him and the Canadian Prime Minister, I guess just some of the language he used made it sound like he wants it as a 51st state.
Yeah.
But
well,
I wouldn't want Canada as a 51st state.
Well, I don't want them as a state, and neither does Trump, because they'll have Congress people, they'll have senators, and they'll mostly be liberal. So it would mess up everything in Congress. So we don't want that. But we want them to stop ripping us off. We need nothing from Canada. We don't need oil. We don't need lumber. We don't need maple syrup. Okay, we need nothing from Canada. All right. Appreciate the call, though. All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Take care. All right. We're teaching these young people something. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. It is rainy and hurricane season here in Florida. And I've been telling you guys this week, you got a wet spot on your ceiling, you got a leak in your roof. You want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. He's a good MAGA guy, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. And people sometimes that listen to the program say, why do you say that? Who would buy a roof they don't need? Well, people do not knowingly buy a roof they do not need. But other people that are in the roofing business, they're not honest like Tom Laporta is, okay? And sometimes you just need a simple repair. You don't need a new roof, but they'll tell you need a new roof anyway. Not Tom Laporta. I've talked to many of our listeners who thought they needed whole new roofs, and they just needed a repair when Tom came out. There was one guy had a big condo building. He had 5 roofers come out. All said he needed a new roof. That's a big job. That's a 6-figure job, right? Big condo community. Tom Laporta came out and said, no, you just need a simple repair. That's right. It's absolutely amazing. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. And because Tom Laporta is not just a roofer, but a general contractor, Florida law allows him to deal directly with your insurance company on the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. He works with every type of roofing material, and he works on every type of structure, residential, commercial, even municipal, and he can handle a job of any size, whether it's one office building, a small single-family home, or a community that has over 300 units. He can handle a job of any size. Now, this number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. Give him a call, or you can text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. I've got to turn the air down, guys. It's hot. All right. If you are on hold, stand by. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones after the break. Stand by if you're on hold. Great news. And today what we're getting is proof that tariffs indeed work, right? If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. No doubt about that. Mm-hmm. We will be back shortly. I'm answering DMs and emails and things from people that are listening. That's what I'm doing during the breaks. I try to answer as many DMs and emails as I can. And if I do them during the show, I get through a big chunk of them during the breaks. Because sometimes they come in like in real time. 1 minute, we'll be back. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm going to go right to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice.
Hey, calling from Hallandale.
All right, Hallandale. What's on your mind?
Can't get your station on my radio.
Oh, I don't know.
Which
station do you normally listen to us on? Which station do you normally listen to us on?
Oldies.
On the radio or online?
On the radio.
On the radio? Okay. Well, I'll up at the radio station. They're listening and they'll look into it. All right. But I appreciate you letting me know. I do appreciate that. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi. Hello. My name is Roman. I'm calling from the UK, but I'm not British. I'm actually...
Okay. What's your nationality?
I am... Wait, so I've got you on YouTube and on the phone. Okay.
Yeah, turn down the volume.
I'm French.
Oh, you're French. Okay. What's on your mind?
I wanted to ask you, because you seem very convinced about the tariffs and all that stuff.
Yes.
And there was a while back, I'm not sure exactly if it's been talked about still, the cars, that Trump was very mad that Europe is not buying the cars.
Mm-hmm.
It's not buying a lot of things, the meat, the cars, and all that stuff. I just wanted to know, is it something that you're on board with as well?
I'm on board whatever Trump wants. I support Trump 100% on everything.
Okay. So my opinion about that is it's the usual thing that Trump does. You know, he's a bit of a crybaby about
crybaby.
all that tariff. Oh yeah, about the tariff thing that you treated, you got the wrong straw, you got the wrong deal, and all that stuff, which is simply not true.
Yeah.
And what I want to say about the cars and all the vehicles that you guys want to sell to Europe, well, you do sell them to Europe. I'm not exactly sure why Trump says that.
No, we don't. Okay, here's
do.
here's what Trump is talking about. And by the way, it's being reported that the UK is going to make a trade agreement. The countries around the world are ripping America off, including all of the NATO allies of Europe. Okay? Now, the NATO allies, you're in the UK, you're from France, you guys are really ripping us off because you're not paying your NATO dues in full. So the United States, we're funding NATO and paying for the defense of Europe. That's one ripoff.
Okay, so I can talk about this a bit if you want to as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit misleading to be saying this because you think you're paying for NATO, but you're not. You want to be the strongest military in the world. It's not because of NATO. It's just because you want to.
No, we have a treaty. Excuse me. We have a NATO is a treaty, right? We have a treaty with our European allies, and each nation, according to that treaty, the percentage is very equal. The NATO dues is based on a percentage of the country's GDP, and the European countries aren't paying their fair share. Okay, so that's ripoff number one.
That's true.
Okay, the second ripoff.
But that's not. But you're playing that as a ripoff, but it's not really because.
Sure, it is.
My point is that you would have the same GDP. The how do you call it? The budget, the military budget would be the same if you would be in NATO or not.
No, but see what you guys aren't paying.
Expanding your sphere of influence around the world.
No,
it's independent of being in NATO or not.
Excuse me.
I agree with you.
What you're not paying, we have to make up. And not only that, the European countries have very small militaries and navies, armies and navies now. The UK, there was a report that came out a few weeks ago. The United Kingdom has more admirals in the British Navy than they do combat vessels. So the militaries of Europe and Canada are very tiny because they know we're going to protect them. But the second ripoff, I want to be more current, is about the tariffs. Countries around the world have out-of-control tariffs. As an example, this one I just found out the numbers the other day, and it really ticked me off. South Korea, and Europe does the same thing on our things. South Korea has a 54% tariff on U.S. goods imported into South Korea. Our tariff on them is 9%. South Korea, like England and France, only exists because of us. And they're ripping us off.
I don't think that's true.
It is true.
So it is true, like in some products, but not all of them. But okay, I'm not exactly sure about South Korea.
And South Korea, the 54%. The South Korean tariff of 54% is on imported agricultural products. Okay, South Korea exists because of our country. Okay, we continue to protect them from North Korea and Chinese aggression, and they're ripping us off. And the reason this
is to your advantage.
To be ripped off.
To your advantage. No, to be in South Korea. No one asked you to go and fight the Korean War.
Sure.
You just went there.
Sure. We did not. No, excuse me.
Forever.
No, that was the United Nations. Okay. And and you guys, the French, you got us in Vietnam. South Korea. That's not true. The United Nations was involved. France, England had troops there, but we were most of it. South Korea only exists because of the United States, and they're ripping us off. They're thieves, and so is Europe.
In terms of Europe, I'd like to talk about Europe a bit, about the cars and all that stuff. So when Trump says that we don't import cars, that's not true. So do you know what was the best-selling car in England for the last 20 years?
What?
Do you know which car was it?
What?
It was the Ford Focus. Have you ever heard of the Ford Focus
in
the United States?
Yeah.
Did you? Really?
Yeah, of course. We have Ford Focus here. The EU, okay, listen to this. The EU, which includes France, where you're from, has a 10% import on U.S. cars and trucks, plus another 20% for the VAT tax. So there's a 30% tax on American cars imported into the EU. Minimum 30%. We have a very
30%.
30%.
The math to 30%. Sorry, I didn't get
It's
that.
a 10%. There's an EU 10% import duty. Okay, then on top of that, there's a 20% value added tax, the VAT. Okay, so
For
it's
all
a
the- for
so that's
all the cars. I don't think that's all the cars.
on
I
American
need to check
cars,
those
on
numbers because I
U.S.
don't think that's
cars,
true.
on U.S. cars. So and our imports
Yeah.
on European cars is lower. Okay, what President Trump is doing is he talks about reciprocal tariffs. Whatever a country's tariff is on us is what our tariff is going to be on them. Why is that not
So
right?
let's speak on that one. Then. Let's speak on that one. So you want, for example, BMW to make a factory in the United States so they can sell the BMW cars.
They
at a
do.
lower price.
BMWs are made
Is
in
that
the
what
U.S.
you want?
Yeah, I have a Mini Cooper, which is a BMW. BMW manufactures cars in the United States so they can avoid that tariff. President Trump's doing a couple of
So
things.
then what's the problem about that? What about Mercedes? What about Audi? Do they do the same thing?
Not everything, but what President Trump's doing with the tariffs, he's bringing these manufacturers to the United States. If you want to make Mercedes, okay, you make them in the United States, there's no tariff. All President Trump is doing is stopping Europe and the rest of the world from ripping us off on import taxes.
But no one's ripping you off.
Sure.
No one's ripping you off. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. Like, you are the strongest economy in the world, and part of it is because you have the strongest military in the world as well, which is to your advantage. It's not to protect NATO. It's to make your economy bigger.
Yeah, but
To
see,
expand your sphere of influence all over the
American
world.
taxpayers like me, Americans are very hard workers. And just because our country,
Yeah, of course they
just
are.
because our
Yeah, I
country
agree with you.
is the richest country in the world and has the largest economy in the world, doesn't mean that France and the rest of Europe and the rest of the world are welfare recipients of ours. They're not on the dole. We shouldn't be supporting them just because our country's richer. Listen, I got to run for a bottom of the hour break, but welcome to the program and thanks for your call. All right, we'll be right back. Great call. Great call. A reasonable person, even though he's wrong on the issues. If you're on hold, hang in there. No, that was a good call. He disagreed. Foreigner, but reasonable. No profanity. This is a radio station, bottom of the hour break. You know, traffic, weather, some commercials. Just because the United States is a wealthier country doesn't mean we should be supporting these other countries. That's what President Trump, he wants to eliminate taxes on people who make under $200,000 a year. Pay for everything with the tariffs. I'll go right back to the phones after the break. We'll be back in just over 2 minutes. How do we support them other than paying for their defense? That's a lot. You know, paying for the defense of Europe's huge, so don't underestimate that. But on top of that, We're supporting them with the purchasing of their goods. The United States is the number one consumer economy in the world. We'll be back in about 40 seconds. Every line on the board is lit, so if you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Every line on the board is lit. So let's just go back to the calls. I've lost track of the order in which everyone's called in, but let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
My name's Jogn, and I'm from Phoenix.
All right, Josh in Phoenix. What's on your mind?
So I got two things for you. First is a question, and the other one is reaching out for a bit of word of advice. First of all, love Trump myself. Loved him more and more and more. Voted for him in 2020 when I was 18, and then just started to fall even more in love with the guy, honestly, since they started, attacking him through the legal system. After his first arrest, I just started paying way more attention. I gotta ask though, I got a MAGA hat myself. What's your hat about? I would like
the hat I'm wearing. I just got this from the official Trump store a couple days ago. Trump 2028. So I think it's self-explanatory.
It is pretty self-explanatory, but isn't that not possible though?
No, it's possible. The Constitution in 1951 was amended, right, to only allow presidents to 2 terms. It can be amended again. Mm-hmm. There was prohibition. You're familiar with prohibition when they outlawed alcohol?
Oh, yes, sir.
That was a constitutional amendment. Prohibition was a constitutional amendment. And then a few years later, they passed another amendment to overturn prohibition. The Constitution's been amended 27 times. It can be amended to allow President Trump to run again. I would like to see President Trump win in 2028. I'd like to see him run in 2032, 2036, and 2040. I'd like him to be president for life.
All right. Well, yeah, for sure. Sort of a follow-up question that if not Donald Trump, who would you see as being like the successor?
We have a lot of people. Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance is the vice president. I mean, we've got great people. Pete Hegseth is doing a great job. Marjorie Taylor Greene is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a long bench. Awesome, yeah, we have a long bench of great MAGA Republicans. That's not a problem. The Democrats, on the other hand, they're in trouble.
If the Democrats decide to run a woman again, and then Republicans run Marjorie Taylor to try to combat.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but
Taylor still wins.
they need to find the Democrats need to find a woman who's tough. They've had 2 women run, 2 women lose, And both of them had nervous breakdowns at the loss and couldn't come out and concede. Hillary had a man come out and concede. Kamala had a man come out and concede. I mean, these they have some, so they need to get some strong women, not women that have nervous breakdowns when they lose.
Yes, sir. I agree totally.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so this is my. Well, let me just give one more little follow up. Who do you even see for the Democrats? Who the hell is going to run for them, man?
They got no one. They got a bunch of losers.
I mean, right.
They stand
like
for
I
nothing.
saw a poll on Twitter the other day for, people. I think there were like 4 or 5 names on there, and the top polled name was Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith.
Cool.
He's the guy from TV. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith has good PR people.
Definitely,
I'm going to be I'm doing a national television interview later today, and one of the things they want to talk to me about is Stephen A. Smith's presidential dreams. What a joke.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Welcome to the show. All right. There's one opening on the board. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie. The guy from England that's from France.
Yes.
He's not being honest with you. You get the cars they buy over there are like Peugeots. Anyone ever knows what a Peugeot's like? They're a mechanical nightmare, but their price over there is set at one price, where when an American car goes over there, that 30% is added on to the sticker price.
That's right.
So people over there are naturally going to buy the French car, and the American car sits there and it doesn't get sold.
That's correct.
And we have to pay the tax on it. It's really ridiculous.
When I was young, I used to think in Germany they were so rich because everyone drove a Mercedes, but because Mercedes are for rich people here or upper middle class people because of the tariffs, right?
Taxis in Germany.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they're not even like a Mercedes and a Beamer are not even luxury cars in Germany, right? They're like the Ford Focus.
No. We get. And listen, I'm 100% what you say here with President Trump. I trust him 100%. He's a businessman, and I'm willing to rather than buy cheap stuff for the rest of my life and sell us out. I'd rather see manufacturing brought back to this country when I was
That's
a kid.
right.
That's what was here.
Well, that's what Trump's doing. All right, appreciate the call, Richie. Yeah, Richie is right on the money. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Derek Smith, calling from Arizona.
All right, Arizona. What's up? First names only, but with a name like Smith, that's going to be first names only. But anyway, go ahead, Derek in Arizona.
So, one, I just want to call and ask what your topic's about.
Well, you gotta listen to the program and you'll hear the topics.
Well, I just got on, but I found your show interesting.
Well, welcome. Well, President Trump announced last night, President Trump announced right before 9 p.m. that he has a big announcement in the Oval Office today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on a trade deal. And it's leaked out. The major media, although they're fake news, this could be wrong, but the major media are reporting it's going to be a trade deal with the UK. And we're talking about how great the Trump tariffs are and how tariffs work. That's what we've been talking about mostly in this hour.
All right. Now, I just got a quick question. If I just wanted to speak candidly about being a proud patriot, a proud lover of being an American, the fact is, Donald Trump has done more than any president in 3 months in the history of humanity, of America, anyway.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He's done a lot.
You got the border crisis, right? He shut it down.
Yeah,
period.
That's right. I mean, and you're out there.
I just want to say, no, but Biden was like for years, I can't do anything on my own, right?
Yeah.
Donald Trump did it in one day. He shut it down just like that. Executive order.
Yeah.
He's signing the executive orders every day. Now, do you agree with all of them, whether you do or don't?
I agree with everything Trump does. I will never disagree with President Trump. He always knows what's best.
No. I mean, listen. All right, there are different topics, but like transgenderism, right? If you want to dress however you want to dress, be what you want to be, live your life how you want to live your life, live your life. You want to play sports, you want to be a female or
Well,
a male,
the thing about the
female
trans
sports.
right. Okay, the thing about trans rights, transgender people have all the rights that every other American has. There is not
Exactly.
there is not a single right that I have that a trans person does not have. What they're asking for are extra rights.
Wait, no, the question is, why can't we just come to a happy medium and create sports leagues for them?
They can do that on the because
girls,
I'll tell you why. Most of the trans hold on. The reason that is okay. Hold on, slow down for a second. When you look at the trans athletes, it's all biological men playing in the girls' sports. Have you seen any biological women playing in the men's sports?
Wait. There have been women that have played in college football.
No. That's not a trans woman. They had a punter or something that didn't do that well. No. Have you heard of a? No. You wait. Okay, making a point here. The trans sports issue are biological men playing in the girls' sports. You don't hear about the transgender biological women playing in the men's sports. Why is that? Why do you think that is?
No, I agree with you.
Well, why do you think that? But why do you think that is?
That's not.
Why do you think that is?
I agree with you, sir. I respectfully agree with you.
Okay. You're not. All right. I appreciate the call. The reason that is, I'll just explain. The reason that is, there's not really a trans issue with sports. Mostly what it is are cheaters that are mediocre, sometimes even worse than mediocre, and on the boys' teams. So they say they're trans, play on the girls' teams, and all of a sudden they're making world records. Most of them are cheaters, not transgender. All right? Okay, there is one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. I'm going to take the last break of the first hour, and we'll be back with your calls. Oh, man. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Well, thank you, John. John Boy. Welcome, John Boy. That's why I shaved today, because I'm going to be on television. Yeah, and those of you that are new, all the calls are screenless and unvetted. When someone calls, I just put you on hold, and then when I say you're on the air, what's your name? That's the first time anybody answers the phone. We don't have anyone answer the phone, and that's by design. Oh, they did Black Smoke again? I would be so excited if they made Cardinal Dolan the Pope. That would be amazing. I'd be very excited. But I doubt they'll make an American the Pope. We'll be back in a little more than a minute. Well, if we get a European Pope or South American Pope, it'll be liberal. There's that one bishop who's black. He's an African. I forget what country. He's very conservative. I've forgotten his name, but if they pick that guy, that would be awesome. The African bishop. You guys know who I'm talking? I don't know. I've forgotten his name, but he's very conservative on everything. He's like MAGA. He's more conservative than Cardinal Dolan. All right. Every line is lit. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Every line on the board is lit at 6:49 a.m. Wow, that's awesome. It is Thursday. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm John. I'm calling from the UK.
Another call from the UK. Welcome.
I want to have a quick chat about that because I think there's been a bit of a misunderstanding.
Okay, slow down a second. The connection's not the greatest, and with the accent, it's a little hard. Speak a little louder and a little slower.
So I think you've got a misunderstanding about what VAT, the value-added tax, is. VAT in the EU and in the UK, because obviously the UK is now separate following Brexit from the EU, is a value-added tax. It's just the equivalent of your state sales taxes.
Our sales tax is about, depending on where you're at, the sales tax is about 6%. It's not that much.
It's between, so Tennessee is up at good 9.5. Oregon is obviously 0. Delaware 0. Montana 0. But it also varies within Europe. So the UK, in general,
well, listen. The VAT tax, that's on you guys. But the reality is that you guys in England England has been ripping off America and causing problems. Like when you guys, like British intelligence, lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and got us into a whole war. Yeah, well, British intelligence said there were. British intelligence.
No, that came from U.S. intelligence.
No, it was British intelligence. British intelligence came out with that fake lying dossier about President Trump. And on top of that, you guys aren't paying your NATO dues.
That was a private company.
Christopher Steele. No, that was Christopher Steele is MI6. It was MI6.
I spoke very specifically about that. That is not.
Well, we're not going to debate the value-added tax, but I'll tell you this: England has been ripping off this country, and it's ending today.
It's a value-added tax.
All right, we're not going to talk about value-added tax, okay? Oh my goodness! If I were on the air in Manchester, we might. Okay, all right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
PJ from Broward.
Oh, hey, PJ. What's on your mind?
Yeah, if that, I was thinking that, I hope that White House announcement today at 10 o'clock isn't the equivalent of James O'Keefe's video yesterday. Because you know what? If it is, if it is, they'll announce that the big trade deals with the country of Andorra.
Yeah, Andorra. Where is Andorra? I don't even know. I'd have to look it up.
It's in the Pyrenees, but between France and Spain.
Oh yeah. That little landlocked place you can walk across in 5 minutes. James O'Keefe yesterday. If he wanted to have a big story, he could have announced that he's back with Project Veritas or something. That story, big deal. Prince Andrew had sex with underage girls. We've known that for how long? What was that about?
Yeah, exactly. You know what that was like? It's like an undercover video of a NASA scientist telling his date that the scientists have found that the sun is really, really hot.
You know, there is no one who's a bigger fan and supporter of James O'Keefe than me. Okay, he follows me on X, and I've always been a fan and follower. But hey, listen, we all make mistakes. I'm sure I've had a dud or two over the 30 plus years I've been doing this. But that was awful. That was so anticlimactic. Yeah. Now, if he would have done a drop on the Project Veritas, because he's obviously connected to Project Veritas again, because it was on the wall behind him. Now that's a story. And that would have been interesting, maybe. But a drunken PR guy trying to get a date to go home with them for sex and saying whatever he could say to impress her, I was let down.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not so sure. You think that the country is going to be Great Britain or United Kingdom? I don't think.
That's what's being reported in the Daily Mail and in the New York Times. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're I don't think that prime minister's that smart. I think it could be like a really smart place like Japan or South Korea.
Yeah, it could be. It could be India.
But yeah, India. Well, India's at war now. What the hell's going on?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I can't worry about their war. I mean, but they have like an 80% tariff on American goods. India, they have like the highest.
Yeah, they all do because the United States is like the most desired consumer in the world because we pay top dollar. That's why our drug prices are so high.
I mean, that guy that called from France, he's like, well, your country's rich. You should pay for all of us. Is he out of his mind?
Yeah. Well, let's see. By the way, there's supposed to be actually 2 videos released from O'Keefe, so hopefully the second one isn't as disappointing as the first.
Alex Jones came out a couple hours before James O'Keefe's video and said that his sources were telling him that it was going to be about Pam Bondi covering up for Epstein, right? And I don't know if that's going to be the second video or if Alex Jones's sources were wrong, but the James O'Keefe video was anticlimactic.
Yeah, but you know what? Must have had a really, really bad day yesterday when the rumors were that would be about Epstein. You know who had a really bad day?
Bill Clinton?
Gates. He must have been. No, Bill Gates.
Oh.
Well, him too, but Bill Gates especially.
Listen, I've been talking about it. We're never going to get anything on these famous people and politicians. If anything existed, it was either destroyed or the deep state have it for blackmail. Pam Bondi said they have all these tapes. They're all of Epstein. They're going to anything we get will be on Epstein. It won't be on any of these household names. Never. I have zero expectations on getting anything. But so many people have so much invested in the Epstein files. We're never going to get anything out of that. I don't believe.
Yeah. I couldn't believe when I saw the thumbnail yesterday. I says, wait a minute, no, wait, this can't be. This is it? And then I said, there's got to be something more in this tape.
Well, look at how much.
When I watched it, I'm going, well, like everybody, is there anybody in the world that doesn't know that Prince Andrew wasn't fooling around with underage girls? It's not a big news.
Now, it was very strange. Look at the Kennedy assassination. For like 62 years, there's been Kennedy conspiracies. We got all the files, and there was really nothing that's come out that's significant, right? I mean, and that's how it's going to be for Epstein. I would love them to come out with proof that all these household names are corrupt and we're doing terrible things, but I just don't think that's going to happen. All right, PJ, I got to run, but thanks for the call. All right, let me, I'll try to take 1 or 2 more calls. We're coming up on the top of the hour. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm from California. I was just wondering what you thought about the Trump's tariffs.
I support the Trump tariffs. They're awesome.
And how they benefit U.S., specifically small businesses.
Well, they do. As an example, Volts...
Yeah, but how?
I'm going to tell you.
How do tariffs benefit... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm going to tell you. You are aware. You are aware that the countries around the world have. Many of them have incredibly high tariffs on our goods, and we have small tariffs on theirs.
No, not compared to the ones that he just established.
No, what President Trump is doing, you hear him talk about...
Yeah, but unfortunately, with the new tariffs, it affects small businesses in ways where they cannot afford to...
Really?
Yeah.
So how have you been affected by the tariffs?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
How have you been affected by the tariffs?
So specifically with lumber, so I'm not from like LA or anything like that. I'm from Central Valley where there's a lot more agriculture.
You buy lumber? You're a lumber buyer? You buy lumber?
Sorry, what did you say?
You're in a business.
You interrupted me.
Yeah, I did. You buy lumber?
From Canada specifically?
We don't need Canadian lumber. We have American wood.
No, it's specifically we're in an area that can't. Unfortunately, it's just not sustainable.
So what do you buy? Hold on. What do you buy lumber for? Why are you?
Real quick, you're interrupting me.
I know I am. Why are you buying lumber?
Prescribed burn fires.
Why are you buying lumber? Excuse me.
Wait.
Why do you? No, wait.
Can you let me finish for like 1 second? It's one sentiment. No.
No. Why do you buy lumber?
If we can do prescribed burn fires, it would be a lot more sustainable.
Burn fires? What, like Malibu? All right, appreciate the call. We're up against our top of the hour break. Callers on hold, stand by. We're going to get back to the phones after the break. There's got to be a give and take, trying to have a conversation. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. We'll be back right after this. This is our top of the hour radio station break. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. There's one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. It's toll-free no matter where you are listening. 888-465-2631. Quick recap. President Trump announced on Truth Social last night, right before... Oh, nope, every line on the board is now lit, guys. President Trump posted on Truth Social last night at 8:56 p.m. Eastern Time Big news conference tomorrow morning, that's today, at 10 a.m., the Oval Office, concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country, the first of many. Now, it's being reported in the New York Times and the Daily Mail that it's going to be the UK, but we don't know yet what country it is. But this is evidence that, of course, tariffs indeed work. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know,
always bet on Doug.
That last one was, man, you put up with stuff that I would never put up with.
I had to be short with her because we were up against the top of the hour. But my guess is she's single lady, talking like that. Who could be married to a woman like that?
Man, I'm telling you. Anyway, everything seems to be going so great.
And somebody, I wanted to get into this because she was calling from California. And, a couple weeks ago, my daughter flew in to visit here in Florida from Los Angeles. And the first thing she noticed were the gas prices, $2.50. I filled up the car, $2.57 a gallon. And she said, Dad, on the way to the airport, on the way to LAX, I filled up the car. It was $5.45 a gallon. So these Californians, I know. So these Californians that are griping about tariffs, what about the taxes they have on gas and everything out there? I mean, it's come on.
Yeah, really. The oil prices have come down to President Trump's first term, but yet the gas prices are trickling down slowly. I guess maybe their tanks are too full yet. Once they're empty, they'll refill. Then maybe the gas prices will come all the way down. But anyway, everything's going so great. Like the gas prices are coming down, the price of everything's coming down. These tariffs you're going to put on, the country was never. Didn't have an income tax. We survived on tariffs, and people are still complaining about tariffs. Tariffs are great. Tariffs are certainly going to be great. The country is going so great that even Clint Eastwood was able to physically throw off Robert De Niro. I was like, man, what more can we possibly have?
Robert De
Niro.
Robert De Niro needs to worry about his kids. Have you seen his son? Oh, my goodness. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Josh from Oklahoma.
Hey, Josh. What's up?
Hey, man. Why do you cut people off so often, man?
Well, sometimes there's a good question, and sometimes.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Well, wait a minute. You just cut me off. Why are you cutting me off?
I apologize.
Okay.
I'm a dick. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Dump button for the first time today. Okay, dump button for the first time, Mike, today. Okay, now, I'm perfect. Sometimes we cut people off because they use a word that you can't use on the radio like that guy did. Sometimes, like the lady right before the top of the hour, I was up against the top of the hour break. So sometimes it's for language. Like if you're on hold, I'm waiting for the delay to build back up, so stand by. There's one opening on our board. Sometimes it's language like that guy. Sometimes we're up against a break. And also, when I go to the phones, I'm not handing the show over to you to host it. We're having a discussion. So you'll call in, you'll make a point about something, and then I'm going to discuss it with you. And we'll have a back and forth. But sometimes people don't want to do that, so that's another, so there's reasons, and they're all good ones. While we're waiting for the delay to re-engage, though, I want to tell people about Friendly Tire in Margate. Oh, man, Friendly Tire in Margate have new tires out the door and on the road on common vehicles and common sizes for as low as $70 a tire. I say out the door and on the road because at Friendly Tire in Margate, when you call Friendly Mike, I'm going to give you the number in a moment. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. That price he gives you is the out-the-door price on your car, down the highway. And what I mean by that is he doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. That's amazing. So the price he quotes you is out the door and on the road. He can get you all the name brands you know and love. I like Firestone, but if you're into Michelin, Pirelli, whatever brand you like, he can get tires for any type of vehicle. luxury vehicles, rust buckets. If you have run flats like I do on one of my cars, oh man, the best prices on run flats anywhere. He also does tire repairs, which other tire shops do not do. And he has thousands of used tires in stock. And these are very good used tires as well at incredible prices. Give Friendly Tire a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. He'll take extra good care of you. 954-977-9445. All right, the delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Eric from California.
Hey, Eric.
So I wanted to ask a question about the tariffs. Mainly what I'm trying to get at is I want to find fairness for everybody. And I feel that the poverty line being frozen as long as it has been to not mirror the cost of living has kept people in poverty.
What does that even? I don't understand what that means. Who are you living in poverty?
Okay. Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of people that live in poverty.
You're always going to have that. What are you supposed to do?
Well, what I'm saying is, every time the minimum wage in this nation is raised, the cost of living raises too.
Yeah.
So the people at the top always stay on the top.
That's not true. I've never earned minimum wage in my entire life, ever. And I've been working since I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't work for minimum wage. I always found jobs that paid me more. Okay, and I make a good living now. I didn't always make a good living. You can, but you're sitting around with your hand out. What do you do for a living?
I play music and I also am a dock worker. But
wait a minute. People, hold on a second. People pay you to play music?
Yeah.
Okay, like what kind of music do you play?
Well, I used to be in a bluegrass band in North Carolina.
But are you in a band now where you get paid to play music?
No.
Okay, so you're a dock. Right, so you work at a dock in California?
Yeah. Well, I was working.
Okay, so you're not in the band, and you don't. So you're unemployed.
Yeah. I am unemployed right now. But I don't want to talk about my situation. I kind of look at it.
But you are talking about your situation. You are. Listen. The reason I ask you about what you do, all of us, our views and opinions are most often based on our own situation. So you're on bad financial times. You're out of work and unemployed. How are you feeding yourself and paying for shelter? Unemployment, or do you live with someone?
Well, I got savings. Like I said, I'm looking at the broader scope of things and how things have gradually become harder for people in poverty.
Well, it's because you're in California. California California is insanely expensive. And the reason it's expensive is because they have huge taxes. That's why gas is $5.45 a gallon down the street from my daughter's house, and there's incredibly high taxes and regulations out there. So a lot of people like you in California are struggling because you've got this out of control wackadoodle government. If you lived in Florida like I do, you'd find things would be different. The government of California, Gavin Newsom, is causing poverty.
Yeah, he is. Hey, thank you for your time. I don't want to waste any more.
But the reason you're worried, but before I let you go, the reason you're concerned about people living in poverty is because you're down on your luck, and you're feeling that way.
Sure, but I'm always selfless.
But why? But where in California do you live? Like what part of California?
I grew up out in Joshua Tree.
Well, where do you live now, though? What part?
Small town.
Okay. Well, do you live in the small town now, or are you living in a city?
I kind of live in a city.
Okay, no, it's okay. And how old are you?
I'm 40 years old.
Why don't you get a job at Chipotle? There's a Chipotle every 10 feet out there, or Starbucks.
Yeah, I just don't do good with people.
You don't do good with people.
back to the store kind of person.
So you've made a decision not to work.
No, not that at all.
I mentioned this a lot. I wake up at 1:30 in the morning to do this show, right? I go live at 6 a.m., and I do live streams even before that. Why do you think I work?
Oh, because that's what everybody's got to do.
Yeah, if I want to eat and support my family, Well, sure. And I do like so many shows. Yeah, I do radio show. I'm on YouTube. I've got my podcast. I've got like 3 or 4 things going. You got to do what there's a motivator. You have found a way to feed yourself and support yourself without working. You're living off of your parents maybe or a grandparent. Who do you live with?
Savings.
How much savings? Come on. How long? What kind of savings do you have that you can? And how long can that be sustained?
I was a dock worker for 10 years.
Okay, so like how much money do you have in the bank?
Well, I've got enough right now.
For how long?
I'm not worried about anything.
Well, how long can you go living off your savings? And are you getting unemployment?
No, not long. I don't plan on going long. I mean, and I do odd
So when your
still,
savings runs out, what do you get? Who do you live with?
So I live by myself.
So you're paying your rent off your savings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when your savings so when your savings is gone, then you'll get a job.
No, not necessarily.
When your savings is gone,
relaxing, man.
Well, wait a minute. When your savings is gone, how are you going to pay the rent and buy food?
I won't let that happen. I haven't let that happen before, so.
Okay. Well, how will you pay for those things when the savings is gone?
Okay, if the savings are gone, then you can't pay for it.
So what will you do then?
You have to work.
Okay, so see, I've known a lot of guys like you in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work a little bit here, you work a little bit there, you take breaks, and you work when you have to. But you really don't have a lot of expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He said yes. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. He said yes. Did you hear? He said yeah. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back. Heard him? He said yeah. We'll be back shortly, guys. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. There's one opening on the board, so hang in there if you're on hold. We'll be back in a little more than a minute, and I'll go back to the phones. If you want to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. Less than a minute. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. Yeah, I want to talk about Jupiter, Joe Thomas, and annuities. You know, I often tell Joe Thomas when he's in studio with me, I've heard about annuities my whole life, but I've never heard anybody really explain them to me until you did. And I don't understand why everybody's not in annuities. You know, with annuities, your money that you work hard for is never at risk. Stock market crashes, your money's fine. But you also have a guaranteed income stream for the rest of your life in your retirement. That's amazing. And last time I saw Joe Thomas, he gave me 3 flyers as a breakdown of 3 different types of annuities. There's a whole bunch of different types of annuities. Another thing I didn't know. And, you know, most people that I've known in my time, when they get older, they run into financial troubles, typically when there's a health issue, right? Husband or wife, they get sick, something happens, and that gets expensive, maybe because you lose that person's income, right? They can't work, or you have to get a new shower installed where they can sit in the shower, or you need to have new doorways put in your house, so a wheelchair or something. When there's a sickness in a family, it can get expensive, and it can bankrupt people, and sadly, often does. But Joe Thomas gave me 3 different annuity types. Options 1, 2, and 3. And what I'm going to share with you is from option 1. And this is amazing. And when he handed this to me, I didn't notice this when he was in the studio, but maybe next time I'll talk to him about it in more detail. So if you're interested in this particular annuity with this benefit that I'm going to share with you, when you call Joe Thomas and take advantage of that no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States, this is from the option 1. He'll know exactly which one you're talking about. The option 1 annuity includes an income doubler from unexpected health events. Holy smokes, that's amazing. Give Joe Thomas a call. Take advantage of that no-charge consultation. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. All right, back to the phones we shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hi, still from California.
It's 1 call per show. But since you're new, I'll give you a break.
At all, Malibu and California. Well, I just didn't feel like I really do want to hear your answer, and I didn't.
All right, what's the question you want the answer to?
So, because you compared Malibu to California with prescribed fires. So, redwood, which is what I would absolutely love to use in my business, is fire resistant. So, totally different from Malibu environment, if that makes sense.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, redwoods.
I know what redwood trees are, and I understand that, but what's the relevance to the conversation? We're not talking about the great redwood forest of California.
Yeah. So I would, of course, love to use American redwood. Especially, I would like to state that I am a conservative. I know I'm from California, definitely not from LA. I run a small farm.
Okay. What do you farm? Marijuana? What do you farm? Weed?
No, of course not. It's rice mainly.
Rice.
I do citrus as well.
Rice and citrus, okay.
Citrus mainly.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are just some things that I have. So with garlic and onions, I do raised beds.
So what's your beef? What's your beef with Trump with your citrus and rice farm?
I just wanted. Okay. No. You're totally good. And again, I'm a conservative, and I'm so interested in hearing your opinion on this, if that makes sense.
What's your problem with Trump and the tariffs?
So the tariffs, at least for my small business and for a few of my friends that, I've obviously just accumulated in the business.
Oh, my goodness.
Have found that lumber specifically from Canada, and like I said, we would all
I got to tell you, okay? Now, I got to tell you this. I don't know if anyone's ever I don't know if any no, you wait. You'll never the thing is you'll never be done. This is I want to tell you something.
Finish for a second?
You'll never finish. You'll never finish. You are
I'm done.
Okay, well thank you. That's probably the first time she's been done talking in her life. What I was going to tell her is she is a woman of a few thousand words. She has called twice, even though we have one call per thing, but she's new, so I'll give her a break on that. I have no idea what the heck she wants me to answer. She just goes on and on and on. And the reason I asked if she was a wheat farmer is because the way she's talking sounds like somebody that's on it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Bob from Boynton.
Hey, Bob. What's up?
This is Bob from Boynton.
Yeah, Bob. You're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air, Bob from Boynton.
I can't hear you, Brian.
Well, okay, we'll call back. I can hear you. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
Great show. Let me just get out what I have to say before you get tired and cut me off. I lived in Europe for 3 years. I'm listening to these people that are belly aching about the tariffs, which is ludicrous because the tariffs haven't even taken effect yet. Everything that we're buying right now is from inventory. Nothing that just came across the water and paid tariffs is what we're dealing with now. It's not what we're purchasing. So, this is just all hype and BS. And I lived in Europe for 3 years, and I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people just don't know about the Europeans. They live a very good life to not have as much production as they should, really, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They retire at age 60.
And they retire earlier, and during their work life, they work a lot few hours than Americans do. Americans work long hours.
Excuse me, if I could just finish. They have siesta.
Sorry, yeah.
And it starts at 11 and it ends at 3.
Yes.
That's their day.
They go take naps.
Stop. They don't take naps. No, they take a siesta every day.
Okay.
That's lunchtime.
Okay, for 3 hours.
It starts at 11, and between 11 and 3.
Yeah.
So we don't need to have a whole lot of concern about what the Europeans are going to do. They can become more productive. They can pay these tariffs. We have been carrying the weight for all of these countries all of this time.
That's right.
So as far as President Trump is doing a fantastic job. He's doing so well, they can't do anything but complain. When I look at these Democrats, they look like fools. Everything that they do, I'm ashamed to say that I was once a Democrat, but at least it was 24 years ago that I woke up. So I'm very happy about that. So I could disassociate myself from that party. But President Trump is doing a fantastic job, and the next 4 years, and I already have my 2028 hat and my 2032 hat.
Oh,
so
wow, you're ahead of me.
I
got to get a 2032 hat.
At the same time.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call, Barbara from Baltimore. Take care. All right. People getting upset with me today, but that's okay. I'll take one more call before the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from New York.
Hey, New York. What's on your mind?
So I just wanted to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I was watching the live, and I wanted to ask personally, do you think that the president has the obligation, and honestly the duty, to uphold the Constitution of the United States?
Yeah, the president takes an oath to uphold the Constitution and defend it.
Great. 100% agree. However, I see that you are wearing a Trump 2028 hat.
Correct.
Which directly contradicts Trump's two-term limit.
Not at all. for a number of reasons. Well, first of all, Trump could be Eric Trump, couldn't it? It could be Larry Trump. It could even be Donald Trump Jr. It doesn't say Donald Trump. But another thing is this. You are aware, since somebody who's interested in the Constitution of the United States, you're aware that the Constitution can be amended, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how long have we had this two-term limit for presidents? Do you know?
We've had it since SDR. SDR was the last president and the only president to serve consecutive of more than 3 terms.
Yeah, he was elected to 4 and died in his 4th. In 1951, the Constitution was amended with term limits. It can be amended again to reverse that and lift the term limits.
But that will never happen.
Of course it's happened. Hold on. The Constitution's been amended 27 times, and as an example, prohibition. You know, remember they outlawed alcohol in the United States? That was a constitutional amendment. Then 10 years later, they amended the Constitution to do away with prohibition. So no, you can have an amendment to overturn a previous amendment. It's happened before.
Oh, 100%. That's not the issue I'm worried about. So here I'm going to read something to you. It is the Advanced Placement Edition of the United States History AMSCO book, which is the current AMSCO textbook used for APUSH in high school.
Oh, okay. Read me from the high school book.
This is actually a college book.
Oh.
Trump's domestic policy. President Trump emphasized tax cuts, deregulation of the private sector, trade protection, and immigration control. In 2017, he signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, temporarily lowered personal tax brackets, and raised the threshold for estate taxes to $11 million per individual.
Correct.
The cuts mostly benefited wealthy Americans and resulted in a sharp increase in the federal deficit.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans dismantled parts of the Dodd-Frank Act and regulated banks and consumer borrowing and overturned Obama-era regulations to control greenhouse gases.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that, any of that, and this is in his first term, by the way, not his second.
Yeah.
I should clarify that. How does that, any of that, first and foremost, benefit the people?
The people. Okay. Now, the first, I'll go over a couple of things. Okay, and we're late for a break, but I'm going to go late just for a little bit. But we don't have too much time because I'm late for the break for our bottom down. But I want to explain. First of all, you said that the tax cuts of President Trump's first term with the adjustment of the tax brackets benefit mostly wealthier people. Why do you think that is?
Well, let's see. Trump has consistently followed a basis of
no, not from the book, from your own mind, not from the textbook, from your mind.
Let me finish.
No, not read from the book. Why do you think the tax cuts in his first? Okay, why do you think the tax cuts in his first term benefited wealthier people?
Because tax cuts, especially tax cuts on the progressive tax-based system in which we have in the United States of America.
Oh, my goodness.
That being, let me explain. A progressive tax-based system is where people of lower stature are taxed less based on their income, and people of a higher stature, especially those who are billionaires and millionaires, are taxed more because they hold more wealth.
No. Okay, so slow down. Okay. The tax cuts that you're talking about from Trump's first term was a cut on income taxes. Most people don't pay income taxes. The only people that get income tax breaks are people that pay income taxes. President Trump has a bill coming up in Congress. He refers to it as the big, beautiful bill. In that bill, it's going to be the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. Tip workers never get tax breaks. This is going to be the first tax break to tip workers in the history of the United States, and very well may be the largest tax break in history. So President Trump also is planning on using the tariffs, he's talked about this, to eliminate taxes on everyone making under $200,000. That would be $400,000 for married couples.
An increase in consumer tax.
That means that 98% of Americans will not be paying any taxes when Trump's done. So he is giving
people in the United States are going to be paying increased income taxes due to these tariffs.
No.
Now, you did just say that the new bill,
the big beautiful
is
bill,
going to reduce taxes on Social Security. And it's funny that you say that, especially because the entirety of Trump's campaign was not the entirety. A good portion of Trump's campaign was campaigned on removing Social Security.
No, it wasn't. That was a liberal urban legend. No one's going to eliminate Social Security. No, Trump never said that. That's a lie. Trump never said.
It is a complete fact.
Nope, it is not a fact.
It is a complete fact that him and his vice president.
I will tell you this. Hold on, I got to break. Listen, I have got to break. Hold on, slow down. Stop for a second. I got to break, but I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you this. You find me audio of President Trump in this past campaign saying he wants to eliminate Social Security. DM it to me on X, Brian Craig Show on X. I will play it on the air. All right, do that, and I will play it on the air. Trump saying in the campaign that he is running on eliminating Social Security. You have Trump on tape saying that in this campaign. DM it to me, Brian Craig Show on X. I will play it on the air. Okay? That's how confident I am. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in a little more than a minute. There's one opening on the board. If you'd like to call in, 888-465-2631. We'll be back in less than a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We are way behind on our breaks, and I'll do my best to get us on schedule in the last 21 minutes or so of the second hour so that in the third hour, we're on time. Okay, there's one opening on the board, and we've been talking about this great tariff announcement of President Trump's that he's going to make at 10 a.m. today, Eastern Time, in the Oval Office. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Ford from Tampa Bay.
Hey, Ford, how you doing?
I'm doing well. A little housekeeping first. I can't hear you on iHeartRadio.
I know. iHeartRadio is having some technical issues that are being worked on.
Cool. Oh, shoot. Anyway, I forgot the second one. President Trump has never explicitly or inferred that he wanted to get rid of Social Security.
No kidding. I'm shocked. Of course, I know. That's why.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I told him to, if he has Trump on tape saying that, send it to me. I'll play it on the air. But I'll get that.
Right.
That link on the 5th of Never.
Yeah. he has said that he wants to reduce the taxes that contribute to Social Security by taking it off of tips. You know, no taxes on tips, which is great, and taking it off of. You can't tax your Social Security benefits.
Correct.
Good.
All right. I appreciate the call, Ford. Take care. Some good information. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. All right. Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Danny calling from Huntsville, Texas.
All right, Texas, what's on your mind?
Hey, the French guy that you were just talking to, he's really getting on my nerves, but I'm sure a lot of
Which one, the Frenchman that called in the first hour?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, the French guy. Because America, the United States of America, we have been ripped off for decades, and the people are living in squalor. Our infrastructure is shot.
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing hardly at all. And these other countries are living large on us. We support the world. And I want to ask him, does he know why the streets of Paris are lined with trees? So the Germans can march in the shade. We saved them in World War II. We saved all of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to just shut up and pay their... How come they get to have tariffs, but we don't?
Exactly. And I liked what the Frenchman said. Well, America's a richer country, so you should support us.
Yeah.
Like the welfare queens over there.
Look at our infrastructure, buddy.
Yeah.
Come over here and look at our country, buddy.
Exactly.
They got beautiful roads over most of Europe, and ours are potholes everywhere.
I bet there's not even a. I bet you there's not even a pothole in Ukraine. All right, Texas, we lost him, but I agree with everything he says. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right.
Hi, just wondering what you think about the tariffs.
Is this the lady from California, the rice farmer?
No, I'm from Nevada, sorry.
Okay, all right. You sound like her. I support the Trump tariffs.
Oh my gosh, I hope not. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's okay. I support the Trump tariffs.
Yeah, no, Nevada.
Okay.
Goodness.
Okay. I said I support the Trump tariffs. That was your question. Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to know your thoughts on it because someone had been asking.
Yeah, you. You're the lady from California. You are the woman who's in the rice and citrus farm. You are concerned about lumber. You called me. This is your third call today.
No, this is my first
call. It is you. And I told you it's one call per day. I let you on a second time because you're new. Now you're calling in and lying. It is her. It is you. It is you.
Not.
In fact, not only is it you, you blocked your number thinking I wouldn't be able to tell that you're calling from the same number you called the other 2 times.
I always have my number blocked for this call. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No. Okay. All right. Hey, listen. Take care. All right. Oh my goodness. I got a good ear, guys. I've got a good ear. Okay. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Good morning, Brian. My name is Al. I'm out of Miami, Florida.
Hey, Al in Miami. What's up?
Good. I'm calling in reference to the tariffs, and just to let people know that tariffs are good. These tariffs that Trump is doing, it's awesome. I've been in trucking for over 40 years. I worked for a company named Southeastern Freight for over 20 years. And if you have seen all the companies that have left, at least the Miami and Pompano area that were manufacturing companies, textiles, a lot of textile companies have left.
Yeah.
A lot of other companies that used to, Siemens Energy, in Miami airport area, there used to be a huge company that employed over hundreds of employees that did the electrical boxes for Siemens.
That's right.
All these companies have left. All these companies, they have all left, and a lot of people, they talk about tariffs, but they all left.
Yeah, I give you another example. In Miami, the Windward Walls area, that used to be an art district where they made things. Now it's just it's formerly businesses that they just hang art on the walls now to go look at, and they make it a tourist attraction. Yeah, you're right. There used to be a lot of factories in Broward and Dade County that are gone now. Absolutely, you're right.
A lot. There used to be a lot, and a lot of people. I mean, I can tell you firsthand because I was there. I saw all these companies that we used to deliver and pick up material. Both we would deliver textile to them, we will pick up material from them, and those companies are gone. And if you go to Miami Lakes, all you see those dollar stores inside those big warehouses. I mean, how do these people even survive on that?
I have no idea.
So with that there said and done, I'm just trying to educate people because I'm like firsthand on seeing what's really going on with the tariffs, So we need these companies to come back.
And another thing, Miami, because I have to go to Miami from time to time. And, I mean, look at the roads in Miami. We're paying for the roads in Ukraine while you have Miami's roads are an embarrassment. The rich and famous from around the world come to Miami, beautiful Miami, and the roads are like, they shouldn't even be open, to tell you the truth, especially I-95.
The roads are destroyed. I-95 is horrible. And let me tell you something. If you go into the Redlands area where, that's where I usually park my truck now because I'm an independent trucker, all the roads out there are destroyed. I mean, full of potholes. I mean, huge potholes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrible what's going on there. And then the other thing is, I think it was last week, Trump came out and everybody's saying that if you can't speak English, you can't have your CDL. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes, that was great.
Okay, so a lot of people say, oh, he passed a law, and I'm here going, no, he did not pass a law. If you go to the FMSA, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, that law was passed in 1936, and it's on the DOT.
Oh, that would be Democrat President Franklin Delano Roosevelt who signed that bill into law. Yes.
So they signed that bill, but that was in 1936, and like I told them, Trump was born in 1946. He was 10 years old.
So what he's doing is he's enforcing a law that has not been enforced.
Exactly.
And I got to tell you, you're in Miami, you've got an accent, so you probably speak Spanish.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do speak Spanish.
So the reason this is to protect American workers.
Yes. Absolutely. I was having a conversation with one of my customers yesterday. Oh, but poor drivers. And I'm here like saying, listen, when you have just think of a truck going down 95 and it's loaded with poison material inside of it, flammable material, and the guy, they give him the paperwork, but he can't read or understand what all that flammable and oxidizer and all that stuff is.
It's dangerous.
And he gets into an accident, and then he kills somebody. And and he's trying to explain to the fire department what's inside your truck. Did you plaque your truck? And they don't know none of this.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, since with Biden's uncontrolled immigration, I have noticed so many immigrants in Miami that don't know how to drive. They don't, they've been brought here by Biden from coming from places like Haiti where they've never driven a car or had a license. They get a license here and they almost kill you on the Palmetto. It's crazy. Listen, I got to run. I'm late for the break, but thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Take care. If you're on hold, hang in there. Back after this. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Just over a minute, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Yeah, what do you guys think? Yes or no? Was that same woman from California pretending to be from Nevada? It was most definitely her. I have no doubt. Oh, my goodness. We're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'll take another call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, you're on the air.
Hello, you actually talking to me?
It sounds like you.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't expect to actually get through. Hi, my name's Tony. I'm from North Carolina.
Tony in North Carolina. What's on your mind?
Well, I mean, I called in over an hour ago when you were talking about tariffs.
You called in an hour and 21 minutes ago. Oh, my goodness. You've been on hold a long time.
Yeah, sure have. I know the conversation's moved on since then, but I wanted to talk about the one area of tariffs that I'm actually knowledgeable about.
Okay.
And as a motorcycle enthusiast, the one tariff that I'm knowledgeable about is the tariff against motorcycles over 700 cc's back in the 1980s.
Okay.
And if there is anyone in your chat or listening to you right now who rides, respects, or has any regard for Harley-Davidson would not exist today without that tariff.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you something. President Trump pointed out, this was in his first term when he was talking about tariffs. I think it was Thailand has an 80% tariff on Harleys imported into Thailand. What the, and I'll tell you, I'm not a motorcycle rider. This will sound a little wimpy to you, but I have a Vespa, okay? The Italian-made Vespa. I call it the MAGA scooter.
Nothing wrong with a Vespa. Vespas are awesome.
Okay, now when I bought my Vespa, I had to. They were very clear with me on how much I had to pay on the tariff, and I had to pay extra money for my Vespa because of the tariff that the Italians were putting on products and things like this. You got to. It's what it is. I mean, these countries around the world have been ripping us off with the tariffs. All Trump is doing is equalizing them. And all these people that have called in thinking that the Trump tariffs are bad, prices are actually going to go down because these countries around the world are going to lower their tariffs on our goods. Okay? So, so it's going to bring the price of American-made goods down. Just yesterday, Volkswagen announced they're moving a manufacturing plant to the United States so they can avoid tariffs. All right? So
that's wonderful.
It is wonderful. So what Trump is doing, President Trump is just equalizing the tariffs. That's all. He's just equalizing the tariffs. Whatever a country has on us, we're going to have on them. So these other countries are going to lower their tariffs, and our tariffs will go down as well. It's going to help the economy, and it's going to bring a lot of companies back to the United States.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I apologize you were on hold for so, I told you I lost track of what order the callers called in, and a lot of people got on that weren't holding on that long, and you've been hanging in there for over an hour, so I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I managed to get through.
But what you said about what you said,
what I had to say.
Yeah, what you said about Harley is true. The Suzuki and all these others and Honda motorcycles, the tariffs have kept Harley in. I've been thinking about buying one of those Can-Am 3-wheelers. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They look like a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun, but
He's laughing.
If I can just say, I mean, I'm a sport bike rider myself, and it's like, even though I know that tariff saved Harley, I hate it because it's like, I kind of hate it at the same time because there were a lot of 750cc motorcycles from that era that I would love to have owned that just don't exist in America.
Well, that's the way it is. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Thanks for holding. Yeah, I just mentioned, the Can-Am. I'm 54. I don't want to change gears. I want to have an automatic, and I kind of like the idea of having. Look up the Can-Am. They're pretty cool. They look like a lot of fun. All right, so we've covered a lot today. Steve will be joining us after the top of the hour, and I'll recap the big story of the day. Also, I did mention earlier, but we haven't had much time. How many of you were disappointed in the James O'Keefe drop yesterday? I got to tell you, I was waiting around all day for that because I was expecting something really big to come from James O'Keefe, and that was the biggest dud. And I love James O'Keefe. I'm not bad-mouthing James O'Keefe. We all have bad days, but that was hyped up so much with that video he put out a week earlier. And then when he came out with it, it was such a... Didn't I tell you guys it was going to probably be anticlimactic? It was just too much hype. But I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You know, I've lost over 35 pounds. It's amazing. And, you know, when I first met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, Dr. Zuckerman over there, he says, how much weight do you want to lose? And I said, well, we got our cruise coming up, so I'd like to lose 25 pounds, but the cruise is in 2 months. He says, no problem. I lost 25 pounds in less than a month. I reached my goal in less than a month. And I kept going. And I've lost over 35 pounds now. Now I'm in the maintaining phase. And I can see it all over. In fact, yesterday I saw online a couple of videos of me from a few months ago on YouTube. Holy smokes, have I lost weight. I couldn't believe. I didn't think I needed to lose weight. Now I'm looking at these videos of me from just a few months ago, and I'm seeing how much weight I lost. It's absolutely amazing. I've lost all this weight without any exercise, eating regular foods I would normally eat, and I'm not taking any prescription medication like Ozempic. So if you want to lose less than I did, or even a lot more, if you want to lose 20 pounds, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. You want to lose 50, 100, 150, 200 or more, Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Give them a call. I'm going to give you the number. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Steve Kane will be joining us after the break. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, please do. It's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Hey, we'll be back soon. Hold on. Yep. Okay, hold on. All right. Steve, you there?
I'm here.
All right, hold on. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
You're faintly in the background.
What's that? Can you hear me?
Faintly in the background of my headset, on my phone.
You can't hear me?
Bare, in a whisper.
I'll have to call you back at the first break. I don't have time to do it now. But
okay.
we'll have to do it the next break.
Well, okay. I'll have Lori call you back?
No, I'll stay here. Oh, hold on. Just stay here. I'll call you back. All right, we are back. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian. Steve is joining us. And this is just a great day. A great day, Steve. Lots going on. The callers on hold, stand by. I just want to do a quick recap for people that are just tuning in. And this has inspired a lot of panic from liberals in this listening audience that have been calling in this morning. Last night at 8:56 p.m. Eastern Time, President Trump announced this on Truth Social. Big news conference tomorrow morning, that's this morning, at 10 a.m. In the Oval Office concerning a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country, the first of many. Now, we don't know which country he's signing this deal with this morning. New York Times is saying the UK. But regardless, and Daily Mail says the UK, but we don't know yet. What we're learning, that the Trump tariffs are working, and the first major country has caved to Trump. So that's what we've been talking about today. I'm going to go back, take some calls, Steve, okay?
Go ahead.
All right, let's see here. All right, the phones, hold on. All right, the phones have been ringing off the hook. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Bob from Jupiter.
Hey, Bob in Jupiter.
Hey, I got a different take on the whole tariff thing. I think we ought to go the other way. I think we ought to nuke all these countries as far as the trade goes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Make them suffer.
Really?
No, I'm talking about,
You mean drop nuclear weapons around the world?
No. I'm talking about nuke is a bad word. I'm talking about why do we need to be fair? Let's be unfair. Why can't? Where's Canada going to go? We can charge whatever we want on them. They have nowhere.
Well,
to go.
that's what President Trump's been doing, right? Canada, as an example, Canada on some dairy products has over a 200% tariff. If they don't make the deal, they're going to get a 200% tariff on their products. He's going to do it.
Right. Why does it have to be fair? Let's take advantage of them, because they're 1/8 of our population. They can't get anything from anywhere. They have to get everything from overseas. It's going to be a fortune. We can do whatever we want.
Well, all I can say is I'm glad Trump's running the country and not you, because what you're doing would result in no deals and global economic collapse. Very, very destructive.
Thanks, man.
That you just don't care. I know. He wants to destroy the world. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Brian. This is David from Tamarack.
All right, David.
All right. So I kind of wanted to ask you your opinion on your take on the announcement that our wonderful president, Donald Trump, best president in the world, made regarding the terrorist group, the Houthis, surrendering, and the campaign with the United States against them.
Well, I guess that's a good thing. I guess that's a good thing if they're going to stop attacking, But what the Houthis have surrendered? But what about the blowfish? The Houthi and the blowfish. Yeah, I don't care. I just don't. I really don't care. It's just like India and Pakistan. I don't care. I'm not going to get interested. We're going to get interested in another war, President Trump bombed the Houthis and they gave up.
If Harris was president right now, we would be surrendering. She would have absolutely surrendered to the Houthis if Kamala would have. She would have destroyed our country. She would have been a total disaster.
And
President Trump.
If that drunken wino who was totally drunk at that speech the other day, if she was president, wearing a MAGA hat probably would be illegal by now. They would have, our whole country would be in an economic depression.
Mm-hmm. But I guess my question is, do you believe they're really going to surrender, or do you think?
I don't know about surrender. They're going to stop attacking. They're going to stop attacking the shipping, I think, is what was announced. And if they're going to do that, we'll stop bombing them, I guess.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. My guess is they're not going to stop bombing the shipping. I don't believe them, frankly.
Well, if they do, they're done. So, Trump, fool me once, shame on you. If they do it again, Trump will take care of them.
Absolutely, he's the best president in the world.
Yeah, always
the only guy with a little bit of strength and courage to do what needs to be done.
But you always got to trust in Trump. He'll always make the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
I never worry.
I think that there's also something in the back going on because of the Abraham Accords, and I think there's a reason why we're slowing down on smashing what's left of the Houthis, so that we could
maybe
so that he could finish these Abraham Accords, possibly bringing Saudi Arabia into
maybe
some sort of a peace agreement.
Yeah.
And they just needed to slow that down because it was a little bit embarrassing to the Muslim world that we're destroying them and asking for peace with other groups.
Yep. All right. I appreciate the call. So, Steve, the Democrats have gone through these talking points that have all fallen apart, right? It used to be the egg prices. They've fallen about 90%, so that's gone. There was even, it was either CBS or ABC News have now stopped calling Garcia the Maryland man. They called him the Salvadorian man. And now they're going to lose another talking point, and that's the tariffs. Because when Trump signs a major deal with a major country today, as he announced he's going to do at 10 a.m., it's proof that the tariffs work. A country has caved because they want to sell us their stuff. And with Trump upping the tariffs on their goods, that's not going to be possible. Trump is always proven right, no matter what. Even when, when Trump's president, I don't worry or stress about anything. Like right now, I just got a notification from the Hill that there's disarray with the Republicans on the big, beautiful bill. And I read it, and it's about little tiny details, something to do with local. Trump will get the whole thing worked out. It's the art of the deal. When you're dealing, you get some, they get some. You give a little, they give a little, right? I mean, that's, so I'm not going to get bogged down in the minutia of this whatever infighting's going on with the Republicans on the big. Trump will take care of it. It'll be fine in the end. I worry about nothing when Trump's in office, and neither should you, because he takes care of everything. I mean, don't you feel confident when Trump's in office, Steve?
Well, he has up till this point taken care of everything, and it looks like this is a big breakthrough.
Yeah, and this is his fifth year in office. I mean, he had his first. This is not his first term; it's his second term, and there hasn't been a single time where Trump has not taken care of business. You never have to worry with Trump in office. And, the media, the fact that they're trying to scare us that the Republicans are caving on the big, beautiful bill tells us that, things are going well. The story today is not the big, beautiful bill negotiations. It's the this trade deal announcement might be what President Trump was talking about when he was meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister we were talking about yesterday, Steve. This very well may be it. And it could be Canada. The deal he announces today could be, we don't know. It's being reported that it's the UK, but the White House hasn't said, well, it could be Canada, it could be the UK, it could be any major, it could be Japan, But, I was looking, the number of businesses, literally trillions of dollars of business has been brought back in the United States in the first 100 plus days of President Trump. Yesterday, Volkswagen announced a manufacturing plant, but you hear these investments, $500 billion, $250 billion. The economy's taken off with President Trump. And it's been about a week since we've had a liberal call in and say, how's your 401k doing? That was their other talking point that evaporated. They kept asking us about 401ks. They dropped the egg talking point. They dropped the Maryland man talking point. They dropped the 401k talking point. And after this meeting today, the next thing they'll be dropping is tariffs are bad. That talking point's going to disappear because whatever country he makes the deal with today caved because of the Trump tariffs. Now, during the top of the hour, I got an email from Mike Lindell. And there's a new special. This is amazing, okay? This is amazing. I have all the MyPillow products, okay? Pretty much all of them. On my bed, my marital bed, we have the Giza Dream Sheets. The Giza sheets are made of 100% Giza cotton. Giza cotton is the finest cotton in the world. And Mike Lindell says a lot of companies advertise that they sell Giza cotton sheets, but they're only 10% Giza cotton. Mike Lindell's MyPillow Giza cotton sheets are 100% Giza cotton. And I don't know what it is about this Giza cotton, But no matter what time of year or no matter what the temperature is, you are always like Goldilocks with these sheets. The Giza cotton keeps you the perfect temperature, summer, winter, and those are the 2 seasons we have in Florida. But no matter what, but whatever season it is, no matter what the temperature is, that Giza cotton keeps you the perfect temperature. And let me tell you, I've had the Giza cotton sheets for years since he first offered them. I have about 8 sets of them. I cannot tell the difference between the ones I just bought and the ones I bought years ago because everything Mike Lindell makes is high quality. Now, on top of that, there's another amazing thing. The fitted sheet. When I first got the MyPillow sheets and I had this experience, this blew me away. This alone is reason to buy them. And there's a great new special on the Giza sheets that Mike Lindell emailed me about just a few minutes ago, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. With other sheets, that fitted sheet that you put on the mattress, you cannot get all 4 corners on. You get the first corner on perfect. The second corner you get on maybe 3/4. The third corner you have to use a lot of strength and you get it on maybe 1/4 or half. And the fourth corner, forget about it. You get it over. You use all your strength, both hands pulling with all your strength. You're afraid you might rip the sheets, and you get it over that fourth corner just enough to keep it on the mattress. With Mike Lindell's 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, you can get all 4 corners on without effort with 2 fingers and a thumb. And that's even when I have my MyPillow mattress topper on. It's absolutely amazing. So here's the new special with our promo code Kane at checkout. The Mike Lindell MyPillow 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, any size and any color. So and they come in every size. Twin, single, queen, king, California king, split king, and whatever other mattress sizes there are. And they have a whole bunch of colors. Right now, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, the 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, any size, any color, just $49.98. Holy smokes, I might buy a couple more sets. Just $49.98, any size, any color. Okay, that is absolutely amazing. When you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to call you back, okay?
All right.
Steve's got a bad connection, so I got to call him back. Yeah, okay. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
I am here.
Okay. We'll be back shortly. Okay, 45 seconds. We're back. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. So there's a lot more going on, too. Did you see what they did at Columbia?
Oh, yeah, big riots yesterday.
Oh, yeah, but it did go. Okay, so they had the terrorist supporters at Columbia, the Hamas supporters. They put up a big pro-terrorist rally yesterday. Columbia locked them into the building until they gave their identification and identified themselves. And they got their names. And, they like to wear masks so you can't see them. And they wouldn't let them out until they... So Columbia University identified the students. And, of course, the Secretary of State and Homeland are... they're going to be deporting some of these. Some of them are not students. Some of them are fake students. But the people on the foreign visas, they're out. But there's another story that they think they're going to make into a big story that is just starting today. I want to read you the headline about, they've moved on from the fake Maryland man because he's a wife beater. He was involved in human trafficking, and he is an MS-13 terrorist, okay? So they've moved on. Listen to this. This is the headline. Glamorous college student made an illegal turn at a red light and ended up and landed in an ICE detention facility. So they got this girl. I'll read you the story. And they got a picture of her where she looks pretty. Depending on which picture you see her in, she looks pretty. Sometimes she doesn't. But they got a picture. They got this one picture where she looks pretty. So they figure, she's pretty. People will be sympathetic. Okay? She's being deported. And she got busted because of this illegal turn at a red light. Okay? So listen to this. A glamorous college student made an improper turn at a red light and was suddenly arrested and transported to an ICE detention center. Zena Anna Cristobal, I know I mispronounced all of that, but she's lived in Georgia since she was 4. But due to local law enforcement's strict coordination with ICE, she was quickly transported to the Stewart Detention Center after making an illegal U-turn on Monday. Now, if you remember, during the Biden regime, or what many refer to it as Obama's third term, ICE under Biden was not working with local law enforcement. So local law enforcement, if they picked up an illegal, they couldn't do anything. Now you could turn them over to immigration for deportation, and they did in Georgia. The 19-year-old student, notice student, she's an illegal, okay? The 19-year-old student was chained by her wrist and ankles as she was taken into the facility. Well, she'll be trapped for over a month before she sees an immigration judge. After being pulled over, she told the police officer she had an international license, but not with her. Online records show, so I don't know, maybe she lied. So she's in the country illegally. She has no driver's license, and she may have lied to the cops, but she's in the ICE detention center. Oh, it gets better. Online records show she was arrested for driving without a valid license and failure to obey traffic control devices, which would be the stoplight. Okay, and I don't know what the illegal turn was. In Florida, you can turn right on red unless there's a sign that says you can't. So I don't know if she turned left on red or right on red. It doesn't say. But I never leave the house and get in the car without my driver's license on me. That's the law. I'd get in trouble too. DACA allowed children of undocumented immigrants, that's a fancy word for illegals, in the United States to apply for protected status that defers deportation every 2 years. However, when this girl got into the county, she was asked her residency status per the booking procedure. In a cruel twist of fate, this is the liberal media, right? In a cruel twist of fate, she's being held in the same facility as her father, Jose, who was detained 2 weeks ago by ICE when he was pulled over for speeding. So her dad was picked up for speeding and ended up in an ICE deportation center 2 weeks ago. She knows this, and she's out breaking traffic laws. She got caught, and she's in the same deportation facility as Dad. So, so maybe they'll be deported together. Let's see here. The family attorney says the mother will be arrested or detained soon. So we got a family of illegals. She has a GoFundMe going, but she's pretty in some pictures, so they think that people are going to garner, sympathy for her. This is why we elected Trump. We've got, and by the way, she's gone to college and and they got a graduation photograph from high school. She's gotten a free education in the United States. She's got a high school diploma. She's in college. She's not in the country illegally. She has no protected status. Her dad's illegal. Her mom's illegal. She can take her high school diploma back to wherever they're from and start a new life. But they're going to be banned from coming back into the country until she's 39 years old because they didn't self-deport. And you're not going to get sympathy for people like her because we elected Trump to deport the illegals from the country. And, that's where the head of the country is right now. And if you look at her mugshot, look at the mugshot. When you see her in the news, this is going to be all over the news. I'm a little early on it. But look at her mugshot and compare that to the photograph they show you in the news. It's like two different people. I'm not saying she's okay looking in the mugshot. But it's not the glamour shot that they're showing us in the media. When you have an entire family of illegals here, they're being deported together, you're not going to get any sympathy for them, I'm sorry to tell you, no matter how hard you may try and no matter what they look like, okay? She may not be MS-13, but she knew what she was doing. And, it shows how stupid she is. They got her father in the deportation center for breaking traffic laws, and she's out there driving recklessly, breaking traffic laws too. If you were her and your dad was getting deported because he was speeding, you would probably never make a rolling stop, never go a mile an hour over the speed limit, and drive very carefully. But she's driving recklessly, and now, she'll pay for it. I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You guys know he's rid me of pain 7 times. I have met so many of our listeners who are living a pain-free life now, thanks to Dr. Appleton. Steve, when we were at Wings Plus, I don't know how many listeners I met over there that are pain-free now, thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. And the laser away pain treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute and chronic pain, arthritis and bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, neck injuries, back injuries, post-surgical swelling, knee conditions. That's one of the things he rid me of. Tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis. The list goes on. Living with pain, I thought, was a part of growing old. But it's not. You go see Dr. Appleton, take advantage of his laser away pain treatment. There's no shots or injections, no surgery, no downtime, and no drugs, which don't help you. Drugs, well, you can get an addiction, but they just mask the pain. The laser away pain treatment actually repairs the damage that's causing you the pain. That's why the 7 times that he's treated me and rid me of pain, it hasn't returned, because he's fixed what was broken inside my body that was causing the pain. And appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. If you have scans or x-rays, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look at them for you. It's a no-charge consultation, 954-973-0710. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. All right. You there, Steve?
I'm here.
All right. Hang in there. Okay, we'll be back in a minute.
All right. Hello?
Yep, we'll be back in less than a minute.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. All right, you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hold on. 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds, Steve. Steve, you there?
I'm here,
Okay.
I think.
Okay, yep, you're there. We're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. You want to take some calls, Steve?
Sure.
All right, let's go. We've covered a lot today. Now let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you call? Oh, we interrupted a conversation.
Off on.
This might be more
I play
interesting.
golf, just my bicycle, my golf club.
Wow.
I
Hey.
play golf, but I have bad knees.
Oh. You have bad
So,
knew. Go see Dr.
I just
Appleton.
want you to know my name, Sean. Cloudy, because I don't know.
You don't know. You're
Okay.
on the
I see
air.
you, I see
You're
you, I
on
don't
the
know.
air.
Hey, Cloudy, how are you? Bonjour, monsieur. Comment ça va?
You're
Cloudy.
you're on the air.
Radio's on in the background. Tell
This
me
is
to
no.
turn
This
it
is not. No. This is his conversation's more interesting than his regular calls. IB, you're on the air.
Brian, I love you, but forget you, man. Talking about
What's going on? What's the problem? What's going on with your golf clubs and bicycle?
Oh, you heard that? Oh my goodness.
And you got bad knees? What happened? What's wrong with your knees?
Karate, golf, frisbee, climbing things since I was a little boy, bicycling, and I was talking about my golf.
So what's going on with your what are you doing with your bicycle and your golf clubs?
No, just never mind. Hey, listen, this is what I called about. Okay.
Oh
First
my
of all,
goodness.
the kids, the FBI. Hold on. The FBI, they have this new restoration Operation Justice Plan. They arrested over 205 child predators,
Yes.
which was about 115 kids. I know MAGA family is very important, but, you know, I don't mind, like you said, even Zelensky getting away with all the money he's stolen, but what's more important is that we can focus in on these kids and where they've gone to and what's been.
You're talking about
going
Pam
on
Bondi and Kash Patel's announcement yesterday. That was good. Why were you speaking French? I heard you speaking French, too. What was that about?
Well, there are some people I know where I'm at right now, and I speak a little Spanish, and I understand some words in Creole, having grown
Oh,
up
that
in the
was
islands.
Creole. Oh, you were speaking Creole. Okay. All right.
No, just saying hello and how are you in the morning. James O'Keefe.
You're a Renaissance
James
man.
O'Keefe.
You're a Renaissance man. You
Yeah.
speak Spanish, English, French. You ride bikes. You
I don't
golf.
speak- I
Boy,
don't
you're
speak
an
fluent
interesting guy.
Spanish. Hey, James O'Keefe. He passed the information on to Alex Jones because he's fearing for his life. He has to go into hiding now, okay, which is outrageous
Okay.
going back to the
Now, okay.
kids.
Now I'm getting interested. Okay. Let me give people some background, and then I'll go to you, IB, because you have some information. James O'Keefe hyped up a week ago a big release. He released it late in the afternoon yesterday, and it was a rehash of things we know about James O'Keefe. Alex Jones, a couple hours before, came out and said that his sources, and I assumed his source was James O'Keefe, but I don't know. But he said his source says that James O'Keefe has a video, as information he's going to drop, showing that Pam Bondi is betraying Trump and covered for Jeffrey Epstein. That's what Alex Jones said. Now, you just...
The weight...
Hold on, let me finish and I'll ask. You just said that, and I'm a big fan of James O'Keefe, by the way. I mean, I've always have been since his first report with the Acorn stuff. He's the greatest.
Acorn.
But you said that James O'Keefe is now in hiding out of fear for his life. Who's he afraid of? Pam Bondi? What's going on?
Think about what I just said about kids, the Epstein files, names and people that would be on that list, and he would have uncovered it. So he's in hot water, like a lot of people went to Europe, like Germany. Russia, running away from the people that were
Okay, so the video.
America.
So you're saying the video that he released yesterday, late in the day, was not the video he was going to release. Out of fear for his life, he didn't release what he was going to release?
Brian, let's say it one more time. He passed the information on to Alex Jones. Alex Jones possesses what we don't know, and that's why he ran, and he's in hiding.
Okay.
So when Alex Jones brings that out, then we will know what was it all about.
Okay. So he's afraid. So, okay. Maybe what you said's true. There was a lot of hype yesterday for a big nothing. So, if what you're saying is true, that would be good. Okay, all right, appreciate it. Say la vie. All right, let's go. Let's take another call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Al, I'm mobile. On my way down to Hollywood, Florida. No, I'm kidding. Just taking a long trip down to Delray Beach. How's your? Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, it was.
Good morning, Steve.
And yeah.
And then you close. Yeah.
What do you have that people might be interested in hearing?
Well, I want to wish Steven another happy birthday. I mean, the man is a legend in his own mind and many other minds.
Oh yeah, is today your birthday,
People
Steve?
lost their minds.
Is today your birthday?
No, it was yesterday.
Oh well, happy belated birthday! Happy belated birthday. That's it, Al?
Anyway, hey, Steve, how's your stock portfolio doing? Mine's down about 7-8%. How's yours doing?
Stock portfolio.
Yeah.
So have you sold it?
What are you talking about?
Now Al's big in the stock market. He's a big stock market investor now.
I don't discuss my finances with this program.
You know who this is on the phone?
Yeah, liberal Al the John.
Yeah. So what are you wasting your time with this a-hole?
Oh my goodness! All right, well, I'll discontinue the call for your belated birthday gift. Oh my goodness! It's amazing to me these
for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, really. It's amazing to me these liberals. They all have stock portfolios. They all have 401ks. They're all involved in the import-export business. All of a sudden, in the last 100 days, they've got all these different professions and things they're involved in. It's absolutely amazing to me.
Involved in everything but a job.
Yeah. Give me a break. Stock portfolio. He doesn't have a stock portfolio. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have a job. Oh, my goodness. Well, listen. We had, in the first 2 hours of this program, we had a run of classic calls that'll be remembered for years to come. In the third hour, the quality of the calls have gone down just a little bit. Let's try to raise the quality for the last 20 minutes or so of the program and get some quality calls, not what we've had, right? Off-air conversations about bicycles, golf clubs, and Creole, and liberal Al the John. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Okay, those are our... That's our toll-free number, and it's toll-free no matter where you happen to be listening. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Jim from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. Well, this has got to be better than the last two.
Well, I sincerely hope so. Or just go back to bed if it's not.
Oh, my goodness.
So anyways, liberal. It's kind of funny because, my wife and I, we DVR, TV shows. And one of the ones we watched was from like a month ago. And every commercial break, they're talking about the stock market is tanking, it's going down, Trump. Well, why aren't they talking about it going up in the last week and a half? They're so disingenuous.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, one last thing, because I'm not going to overstay my welcome like some of these other people.
Yeah.
I love these callers calling in. The soy boy sounding, beta male sound. And obviously you're a pro at this. You guys are pros. But even me being a layman, 5 words in, you know where it's going with these soy boy, beta males, reading out of textbooks and all this crap. It's pathetic what this generation is yielding.
Did you? I mean, the one guy that called in, he was reading to me from a high school economics social studies book to make his case. It was so pathetic. I've never had that happen before.
Yeah, he probably hasn't had a girlfriend before either. So, anyway, great show as always. Thanks again, guys.
All right, take care. I think dating's back. In the last 4 years with all this gender stuff, it was probably hard to meet a girl. But I think now that the gender stuff's over, you guys out there can probably find girls to date again. Trump has brought dating back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Well, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dennis from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Hey, Dennis, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm a Republican.
Oh,
but I'm not a MAGA Republican.
Oh.
And I'm so tired of listening to all the lies Trump tells, and you guys don't ever call him on any of them.
Mm-hmm.
You just swear to whatever he says and whatever he wants to say.
Well, no, this is a great. Hold on. This is a great opportunity for you and for Steve and I. Can you pick the most recent big lie that Trump has told that you would like us to discuss? The most recent.
The one on the Sunday night with what's that? Real well-known news show, 60 Minutes.
Well, I missed 60 Minutes, but go ahead.
And we'll just start with this one lie that if they don't pass the tax bill, taxes are going to go up 68%.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, that was absurd.
That's true.
No, it's not.
It's a fact.
It is a fact.
The top rate before was about 39%. It only lowered it to 37%.
You want to take a breath here? Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. What is it that is? I'm asking you to supply the answer. I'm going to supply the question at your request. You wanted to know what was expiring. What is expiring going into this negotiation? This budget negotiation.
The current tax bill, which I actually like very much, is expiring, and we'll say like my rate's about 24%, so that'll go up a percent or two. It's not going up 68%.
What happens if they don't renew it?
It goes back to the former tax bill. And the top rate in that bill was 39.7 or something, and now it's 37. So that's a 2 or 3% increase. But we can go to other lies that he told.
No, well, first of all, it's not just your personal income tax. There was corporate taxes that were reduced; those will go up, and they're also doing the no tax on tips. They're factoring that in. That is an accurate thing. But to sit around and say you're a Republican, but you take it, but Trump's a liar, and you cite CBS News as your source. I question you may be a.
I'm not citing CBS News. I'm citing what
60 Minutes. Excuse me.
Interviewer.
60 Minutes is CBS. Okay. Now we're up against the Go Report, so we got to run. But you may be a registered Republican, but you're like one of those Lincoln Project Weekly Standard Republicans. You just don't like Trump. But hey, listen, appreciate the call. No, and it's not just Trump. The Treasury Secretary also was citing 68%. It's not just our tax brackets. There were many other taxes that were cut by President Trump. And one of them, Steve, was he raised the estate tax. Okay? So some of that estate tax would be coming back as well. So no, he's accurate on the 68%. He's not just talking about the individual tax brackets. There's corporate taxes, there's estate taxes, and others. All right, I'm going to put everybody on hold. We'll take our break and be back with the Gold Report. Hey, William, hold on. Okay. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hold on. All right, I got William on. Okay, I'm going to conference William in. William, we'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay.
Stand by.
What?
Oh, Steve, we're back. Hold on.
I'm with you.
Stay by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals pulled back in the last couple of days, giving us another buying opportunity after Tuesday's $100 gain on gold. Wednesday, we saw gold close down $68.40, giving back a good piece of that $100 gain we saw on Tuesday, closing out the day at $3,364.10. Silver down 75 cents, closing out the day at $32.42, while platinum was down $7 at $976. And palladium was down $15 at $9.49. Overnight, we've seen gold trade in a range of $33.18 all the way up to $34.16. And right now we're at $3,350 an ounce, down $14.10. Silver down 2 cents at $32.40 the ounce. Platinum up $6 at $9.82. And palladium up $11 at $960. So the market's still trading in a range of pretty much 3,200 to 3,400 on gold. So that's giving us a little bit of a buying opportunity today. As I said, we're down to 3,350.
Yeah, and remember, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m., and all the metals are available for immediate delivery. You can stop in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building, or call them directly, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. That's 1-800-327-5010. And find both his phone number and address online at williamyoungerman.com. That's williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, and we are back and talking about saving money. I want to remind everyone that the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's is still in effect with the installation of your Slomin Shield. And remember, this doorbell camera connects directly to your cell phone. You get a notification, and you can, anytime there's movement in the front of your house, and you look right there on your phone, and you can see who and what is there. It's amazing. And you can get that for free with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Slomin's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call. Here's the number. Toll free. 1-833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. 50-50. You know, Steve, there's been a trend with the whole time Trump's been on the scene, since he's come down the escalator, right? You get all of these, and we've had several today, okay? I'm a Republican, but, I'm a Republican, but. There's always been fake Republicans calling us, but in the past, they would, like when Bush was president, right? They'd call and say, I've been a Republican all my life and I've left the Republican Party because of Bush. But now it's, I'm a Republican, but, and then they go on to trash or disagree with Trump. And sometimes I think they're lying, obviously, but a lot of times, when you're, like the last guy we were talking to, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I'll throw this out to you, Steve, and maybe if somebody wants to call about this. I think a lot of Republicans are snobs, like the old guard Republicans, right? And I don't think they like being in a party that's so big and diverse. I think they like having like their own little country club Republican Party, where they're,
I think it's much more just an extension of the Trump derangement syndrome. Look at what the situation they're in. They don't even have a candidate that's presentable enough to put them up to actively run. And yet, Trump, who they hate, people around the world, countries around the world are coming to Donald Trump to solve their problems. They're on the verge of a nuclear conflict in
Yeah.
India and Pakistan, and all of a sudden, I don't know, of all the people in the world, India and Pakistan agreed to let Trump moderate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's unprecedented.
Yeah.
There's never been anything like this, and they're so sick, and I emphasize the word sick, and tired of losing and getting their brains kicked in every day.
Yeah.
That they're just shell-shocked.
Well, and this thing with India and Pakistan, I mean, they're like ready to nuke each other out of existence, but they agree Trump's the man to handle the job to get it stopped.
Has there ever been anything like that in history? I'd like to know. I don't think so.
No, not that I can recall. And I'll tell you, did you see Bret Baier with Bernie Sanders?
No. What did I miss?
He did. Bret Baier, if he would have taken it one more beat, it would have, but he did permanent damage to Bernie Sanders that will be with Bernie Sanders for the rest of his career, and it's even going to turn liberals against him. There's been a lot of talk about Bernie Sanders and AOC. They're on this Fight the Rich Man tour, right?
Yes.
Flying around on the private jets.
The oligarch.
Yeah, and Bret Baier asked him about it. And asked him if it was hypocritical. And he says, what, do you expect me to wait in line at the airport when I got people at a rally waiting for me? I can't go, and that's going to follow him forever because it shows what a fake and snob that he is. Now, if Bret Baier would have taken it one more step and, because, you believe global warming, but you won't jet pool and, like everybody else. But that interview with Bernie Sanders was the beginning of the end for Bernie Sanders. Bret Baier did a very good job on that last night. I was pretty good. And Bernie Sanders' arrogance. What, am I supposed to take a regular plane and wait like everybody else? I'm Bernie Sanders. Don't you know who I am?
I love me. I love me even better than that. I love Michelle. Can you believe they asked us to pay for our food?
Yes,
I love that.
On her podcast, she was complaining that she had to pay for her food.
That was the end of her.
And the Obamas, when Obama got elected, they were already millionaires. They weren't as rich as they are now, but they were millionaires. And the food that they have to buy is the food that they eat. Okay?
Of course.
So, and every president has to do that. I heard Jimmy Carter griping about that once on an interview. I guess it's a thing with Democrats. They feel entitled. But, she's done. Bernie's done. Gretchen Whitmer's done. And,
they're all done before they started.
And
they're up the creek without a paddle. They've never had this
bad
a situation
in
terms of not having a candidate.
And you were predicting months ago that their candidate was going to be Fetterman, and now they've turned on Fetterman because Fetterman went to Mar-a-Lago to meet President Trump, and he sounded like a lunatic liberal right after he had that stroke. But when he was no longer brain damaged and he recovered from the stroke, he started talking reasonably. And they can't have that in the Democrat Party. So now they're going after Fetterman. All they have left right now is Newsom and AOC. That's it. They got Newsom and AOC, and they're both flawed, and they'll be next. Before we go back to the phones, though, I want to talk one last time today about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I've lost over 35 pounds. And, Steve, I've been hearing from a lot of our listeners who have lost double-digit pounds, too. 20 pounds, 40 pounds, and more after just a short time with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It works. It's amazing. Steve, I saw some old videos of mine from just a few months ago. And I could see the difference in me. I mean, I couldn't believe. When I first went to Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I wanted to lose some weight. Who doesn't, right? Had a little belly there going on. But I didn't realize how much weight I needed to lose. And when I see the way I look now compared to just a couple of months ago, it's night and day. I weigh what I did when I got married. And my 29th wedding anniversary is coming up. And you can see the difference in my face and my neck. My stomach is completely flat. I've got definition in my body. And I was talking yesterday, my head is shrunk. I had to adjust my caps, my MAGA hats. I have to make them smaller because I guess I had a fat head. I don't know, but I lost weight even around my head, Steve. And I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I did all this without taking any prescription medication like Ozempic. I'm doing zero exercise. And I'm eating foods I would normally eat. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Go see Dr. Zuckerman. It'll change your life. And not only do I look great and feel great, I feel great not just because I feel great about how I look. I have more energy. You know, I finally, Steve, I've cut my caffeine intake down by 50% in the mornings, and it's a direct result of losing this weight and having more energy. Here's the number. Now, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossSecret.com. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. It's Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Listen, Steve. Yes. Listen, Brian, welcome back. Okay, we welcome you back. Steve does as well. For now, coming back to Fox News, because pretty much every show you're citing Fox News, where a couple of years ago you said you would never listen to them ever, ever, ever again.
Well, sometimes you get angry even at your best friends, and you don't talk to them for a while.
Hold on. Who did I say I'd never listen to again?
I know I said it. I said it. I said I was ticked off at Fox.
Talking about Brian.
Yeah. So sometimes you get mad at people and you don't talk to them for a while, and then you cool off. Brett Baer did a good job last night with Bernie. Great job.
That's right, and you've ripped Brett Baer for his plastic surgery for the mansion he lives on.
Well, his eyes are a little pulled back too far. I will still, so what point do you think you're making? You think you got me on something?
You're coming. No. Well, can I speak for a moment?
I asked the question.
The point I'm making is you're coming back to the middle of the road. Fox
oh my goodness! Give me a break.
Hey, wait! You don't let me finish the sentence, Brian. See the issue that lies.
Go ahead.
Fox News is fair and balanced. Don't you agree, Steve?
I think they. Yes, I think.
I don't agree with any of that, but no, I don't agree with you.
Well, let me finish what I'm saying.
30 seconds.
I think that it's true that they lean towards Trump, but that's because reality is supported by Trump's positions.
Yeah, and my attacks on Fox have never been on everybody. There's people there that do good stuff. Jesse Waters has a better show than Bill O'Reilly ever had. Listen, we're out of time for today, Greg, but call back tomorrow. I'd like to have more time to duel you. What he's trying to do is pass me off as not being MAGA. Good luck with that, okay? Tomorrow's Open Phone Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday, Steve. So that's...
look forward to that.
I do. That's tomorrow. It's open phones every Friday. The show prep is up to you guys on Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane has been here. Happy belated birthday to Steve Kane. I'm Brian Craig. We'll see you tomorrow on Open MAGA Mike Friday at 6 a.m. Take care. All right. And we are out. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I got a very busy day today, so I got to take off. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video. And if you could, share the video on your social media, if you don't mind. That would be awesome. All right. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching.